Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to another Mr. Maple 10 at 10 video. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tim. Ohio gozaimasu. Welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. Today we're going to talk about 10 trees on the table. We're listing 20 today at 10 a.m. Check your email. Make sure you smash that like button if you love Japanese maples. And always shop with us on Mr. Maple.
Guys, welcome to November. It is November 7th. We got the 10 at 10. We just had a great open house. We're shooting this beforehand, but we had a great time with you guys. We really appreciate everybody that showed out. And it was an awesome time as always, because you guys make it awesome. I can tell you, even into the future, we had a great time.
Well, y'all, thank y'all so much. We've got some cool things happening right now. We've got giveaways. We've got tons of other things going on. Check out our recent live video on Friday. We recently did a live video.
That's the future to us now.
It is the future to us now. But check out Friday's live video. We've got a lot of cool things happening. You'll need to check it out.
If we go back in time to that one, does the video fade like Marty McFly? All right, let's get into it, y'all. I've got Calico on the table.
Whew, Calico. Man, Calico is one of those plants in the springtime leaves out with a pink hue to it, then goes to a green. But the fall color is a calico of colors of yellows, oranges, and reds.
Great container plant, great overall plant, really brings it. I mean, it is one of those another one of those plants where the flower is the foliage, so you get so many different things going on. Really noted for that fall color, but I think the spring color is quite exceptional.
This is a nice upright tree, can handle a lot of heat, can get to about 10 feet tall in 10 years. Makes a good small tree out in the landscape, will give you some excellent fall color.
And that one's gonna work zones 5 through 9. What you got down there, homie?
Homie, I got some little Sangos.
All right, partner, here's a little Sango for you.
Little Sango is a dwarf coral bark Japanese maple, selection by Talon Buchholz. As the name implies, it is little, and it has that coral bark selection. I mean, 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. To me, it's much better than Fagelheim. We always say that. Fagelheim is not a great tree. Little Sango, this one's easy to grow and makes a beautiful winter interest Japanese maple for your garden.
Great multi-stemmed coral bark, short, dense, 5 to 6 feet tall, 5 feet wide, more of a small canopy ball, has a ruffled leaf to it, great golden yellow fall color. That multi-stemmed approach looks excellent in the winter because you get all what you like in a coral bark, but with lots of it. And you know little Sango in a wrapper because it's little, it's not lil.
Lil.
If it was little Sango, he probably had some rhymes. All right, back to my side. We got Fred's Wild Dream, y'all.
Y'all, one of the first time we've introduced this. This is one of the new ghosts by Talon Buchholz. It's called Fred Wild's Dream.
Look at those sizes too.
I mean, some amazing sizes right now on these 1 gallons. One of the first times it's being released online mail order. And this one has that sort of purple ghost celebrations type style look to it with a reticulated variegation.
Yeah, Fred's Wild Dream. Man, this guy must have been dreaming. Talon named this one, and it's another great Buchholz introduction. Shares some of that lineage with the original ghost. And who doesn't dream about Japanese maples? I dream about Japanese maples.
But do you have wild dreams about Japanese maples?
I got some pretty wild dreams about Japanese maples. All right, let's see what's next.
Guys, next up we got Mr. Sun. Acer Shirasawa.
Mr. Golden Sun, y'all. Now, this one, Talon named it Mr. Sun because the leaf, it's already out of leaf now, but it looks like a children's drawing of a sunshine.
This one here has green foliage in the spring. It's an Acer Shirasawa. It has that large round foliage. But the fall color is typically more yellows to orange. So you get that really sunshine appearance, especially during the fall.
Yeah, I love this one being an Acer Shirasawa. Another one that's kind of fun to pair with Peve Starfish. Gives it kind of a little contrast, a little bit wider of a leaf, but it still has some of that convexness to it. Awesome plant to be growing. I love Acer Shirasawa. This one has a little bit wider of a leaf than many of the other convex styles, giving it even more sunshine-esque look to it. It tends to be very multi-stemmed and short and dense as well.
It has one of those low spreading habits. It really has such a great shape. And just small, slow growing. Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun for best growth rate on this tree. I mean, pair it with something like a Bashful out there. And where a Bashful has more of like that Arium style, this has more like that almost palmatifolium style foliage to it.
Awesome one, Mr. Sun. All right. We have Shinhikasa. If you got Hikasa, we got the Shin version right here, y'all.
So Shin in Japanese means improved. But the reason they say this one is improved is because it's more dwarf and compact than Higashiyama. This tree stays really slow growing. It's very vigorous at a young age, but tightens up and denses up. And this tree in the springtime gives you some of that pink reticulation that Higashiyama can provide.
I was going to say I was Shin Nichols, but then I remembered I'm the older one, so I can't. I'm the OG. Maybe my son can be Shin Nichols. All right, Shinhikasa, awesome plant. This one brings everything you love about Higashiyama, but in a tight, dense, dwarf, compact habit. Excellent for the container garden. That reticulation really puts on a show, especially in the early spring, tight and dense. Now, I've had people say, I got the wrong tree because they could stretch out a little bit when they're young. Pay no attention to that. They will tighten up, especially as they slow down. They'll be a little vigorous sometimes at very first, like you'll see some long growth on them. This one sometimes doesn't grow more than 2 to 3 inches in a year.
Yeah, a really slow growing tree. I love Shinhikasa. I mean, it's one of those plants that can just give you something really special out in the landscape. Try not to over fertilize this in the early spring because you can get more green in the early spring if you're over fertilizing this tree. And let this tree leaf out slowly outside. That's really when you're gonna get the very best variegation. New growth during the summer won't show variegation, but it will return the very next spring with that variegation on those leaves.
Outstanding plant. And I love how ruffled the foliage is too. It really gives it a real nice appearance to it. All right, y'all, up next we got Kumo niski. This is Acer Seboldianum. This is a zone 4 plant. We love Acer Seboldianums. Sebold, kind of a funny guy, liked to sail around. He was an optometrist. And while he was sailing around a lot of Asian countries, he'd be stealing plants like crazy. He was a madman for the thievery. He'd be fixing eyes by day, breaking hearts, stealing plants by night. This guy was always on the run. He barely escaped with his life a few times while he was stealing plants. And that's where the term Sebold comes from, in Seboldianum.
Now, Kumo niski is a variegated selection of that. It has more of that full moon style foliage the Seboldianums do, but this is pretty much one of the most stable full moon variegated types that I've seen. It gets the pink and white swirls in it, and then the fall typically gets some really nice oranges to reds with pink variegation. This is a showstopper tree. Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun, but plant this somewhere up close so you can really enjoy this variegation because it is outstanding.
One of my favorite variegated plants. I think probably one of the very best of any of the full moons that are variegated. I mean, you get a lot of reticulation going on. You get, it's almost sand dusting. It's hard to describe what it is. You get striping in it, which just looks amazing in the early spring. I've been to nurseries in Japan, and they brought this out as their most special thing to show us. And we're like, that's awesome. I have it available, but that's awesome. Love it. Kumo niski, great one to be adding to your collection today, and kind of came from a maple pirate. So there you go.
What about this Kumo niski seeds mean you were collecting at Buckholtz Nursery earlier this year?
All right, you want to tell them about this one? I collected some seed on this at Buckholtz this year too. Actually, a fair amount on Acer palmatum, Hupp's dwarf, y'all. It's back.
Now, these are some Welsh pots, but there's some killer sizes on these 1 gallons, or these Welsh size pots.
Yeah, people often ask what the Welsh pots are. They use them a lot at Buckholtz Nursery. It's basically the same size tree you get in a 1 gallon, but a little bit squattier of a pot.
Yeah, and I think it constricts the roots a little bit, and because of that, you may actually get a little bit more top growth out of it sometimes. Very typically, to get a very close to a 1 gallon size plant in a smaller pot, for bonsai, that's fantastic because you don't have less room. You actually have to work down to get it in a bonsai pot. But make great container plants, great in the landscape. Hupp's dwarf is kind of like that Shishigashira Makawa. I mean, it's got those leaves that twist and curl, but they're kind of layering as well. Really fun and interesting tree.
Hupp's dwarf, named by Barbara Hupp. They had a Christmas tree farm. She found this Acer palmatum. She was just in love with, got it to J.D. Vertrees. The rest is history. You know, it's in the first edition. Everybody loves Hupp's dwarf. I think it's still underrated and underutilized. This is one that I think could be as popular. You know, if Makawa is our top selling tree, dang, we better start doing more Hupp's dwarf because this has a lot of those same qualities with something different going on. Absolutely adore this plant.
Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun for fastest growth rates in the south, but this is an amazing tree that is a neat, slow growing, that stands out from the crowd. And when you have the trees that have those resilient, you know, very unique qualities, that's the ones you want to plant, and this is one of them.
All right, y'all. It's time to turn on the lights.
Guys, next we've got some 2-year, small 1 gallons Acer japonicum fairy lights.
Yeah, this is a tiny plant. Go watch our highlight we did on the biggest one in the United States. Spoiler alert, it's at Buckholtz Nursery. Me and Corbin did a little cultivar breakdown of that one in some impeccable fall color. If it isn't up yet at this point, hang on, it's coming. We actually shot up content to get you guys in-leaf content through March. So we're going crazy over here with the videos. Fairy Light's one of my favorite Acer japonicums. Works awesome in the fairy garden, but man, it looks great in a container, in the ground, pretty much everywhere. One of my favorite fall color Japanese maples of them all.
Now, your Minna Rare Plants Nursery in Australia had some amazing selections. They didn't introduce many cultivars, about 4 or 5, but Kunar Pygmy Acer Roof and Nerve Winter Gold, Peaches and Cream, Fairy Lights. They got some heavy hitters. And this is probably one of my favorites of their selections. It's a Japanese maple from down under that you're gonna really love having down in your garden, because this thing, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but it puts on a show in the space that it's there. And just a nice slow growing green dwarf japonicum, one of the slowest growing japonicums with an electric fall color.
Awesome plant. That's Fairy Lights, y'all.
Guys, next up, we got a selection by JD Vertrees himself, Acer Palmatum Kamagata.
Guys, we got a cultivar highlight coming up on this one from the Buckholz farm as well. And we've got the biggest Kamagata on the planet there. That thing is incredible. We've got a little bit of fall color starting on the photo. Now, this one is listed as great for rock gardens, typically more of a compact tree. You can see some of those big boys in Oregon, though, when they're 40, 50 years plus, they can get pretty big. Outstanding plant. All the leaves kind of have that finger elongated look to them, so it kind of cups a little bit. Kamagata, exceptionally heat tolerant too. This one's going to work zones 5 through 9, but don't be afraid to push this one in that heavy zone sun, even a zone 8 sun.
Yeah, talking about a hardy tree, we've got this tree growing in western North Carolina where it gets some really hot residual heat on a brick, a southwest exposure. This tree has thrived and done well for us over at Maplewood Gardens. An amazing plant. Kamagata, this is a tree you're going to really like. A nice slow growing tree, really good and underrated fall colors.
All right, let's pull these out from back here. People have been loving these big 2s from the Buckholz farm. Y'all, we're bringing out Frosted Purple in the 2 gallons.
Y'all, Frosted Purple is one of the coolest of the new ghosts. One of the very first selections that was introduced of the new ghost types. And it has that frosted purple look to it.
The very first one I ever got was this size. It came in a box to my parents' house when I was still living in Mom and Dad's basement as a gift from Talon Buckholz. And I freaked out. I went out there, we opened the box up, and it was winter. There was a Frosted Purple, this very size right here, and we were like, oh man, I've been dreaming of this one. Saw it in Talon's blog. Hey, shout out to Talon's blog. If you don't know, he's keeping that thing going, so you can always check out that Floral Wonder blog. Great way to learn about plants. And he's doing a breakdown right now of all the Floral Wonder introductions he's ever listed. So,
and Frosted Purple, this is one of those ones that gives you almost that Olson's Frosted look, but a little more purple, like a little more purple ghost-like. And midsummer or mid-spring, whenever it's kind of purple with green veining, this thing is outrageous. To me, it's a showstopper for those reticulated, variegated styles.
Looks like an alien. All right, y'all, let us know which of these is your favorite tree on today's 10 at 10. There's a great lineup here. I know Hupp's Dwarf is going to sell out quickly. A lot of these are going to sell out quickly. Shinhikasa is one that tends to go quickly. Heck, even little Sango over there, that tends to go quickly as well. So make sure when you add something to cart, you go ahead and check out. Some things do disappear. Just adding to a cart doesn't save them for you. Also, let us know where you're watching from. We love our international viewers, y'all, and we love to hear where you're watching from. Even if we can't ship to you outside the United States, if you're subbing, we appreciate you being part of that Maple Mafia with us.
Matt and I were at the Maple Society meeting post store, and we were walking around at a nursery in Canada, and they were like, oh yeah, I love watching your 10 at 10s. I love your thumbnails guessing your 10 at 10s. It's so cool that we've got international viewers. Check in, let us know where you're from.
Humble brag here too. It was pretty cool. We got recognized for a second time in an airport. Tim and I don't really look different much. Like if you catch me when I'm not at work, I'm wearing the same stuff. I'm wearing a MrMaple hat and a MrMaple logo shirt. So I'm kind of, unless I'm at church, I probably look exactly like this. So we were walking through the airport. They were like, bye, Matt and Tim. And then the lady caught up to us through the elevator. Shout out to her. We love hearing from you as subscribers, and we're just humbled and honored as guys who started out tailgate markets that you guys are tuning in. And whenever people tell us they watch the show, I'm always like, what? No way, you're kidding me. Awesome. Thanks so much.
So take care, y'all.
God bless.
And have a great day.